But alas, the Western Standard folded, but it is being revived. When we shut down the magazine, one of our executives, Matthew Johnston, bought all the rights, and he, along with our next guest, have revived the publication as a website-only project. And our guest today is part of the team giving new life to that old byline, that old masthead, rather, our friend Derek Fildebrandt, who joins us now via Skype from Calgary. Derek, good to see you again. Great to see you, Ezra. Well, you know what? I have such fond memories of the Western Standard. I worked there for 4 years. I was the publisher of it. It's been dormant for more than a decade. Tell me about your plans to revive it, along with Matthew Johnston, one of our original executives.
Well, I'm really excited. I'm stepping into very big shoes here. I remember the Western Standard was out while I was in university. And it was a bright light and otherwise very dark place of the modern Marxist campus. I was at Carleton University at the time, which was amongst the worst of them. And I remember I'd skip a few meals a month and eat ramen noodles or something just so I could afford my Western Standard subscription. Remember, I would always flip straight to the back, read some Mark Stein first, and then begin from the cover with you. It was such a great publication, and it was a badly needed voice, independent voice for the West. And I was very sad when it went under. I think you still owe me a 9-month subscription left. But actually, I heard that from a few people today that they still have some. So we're really excited to be to relaunching the Western Standard, trying to step into the very big shoes that you and others left when it unfortunately closed. We launched today. Our website's westernstandardonline.com. And we're online with opinion, news. We're doing our first video and podcasts today as well. And our hope is actually to get to a quarterly print edition sometime in the new year. So right now we're just building a team. We've got some great writers and contributors for us right now. We're hoping to very quickly grow that team. Well, that's great to hear. You know, I'm just looking at a couple of these editions I have here. This is from literally 13 years ago, but some of the issues are the same. Why so many people hate Toronto, Canada's nuttiest professors, Al Jazeera's all-star Canadians, eco-terror strikes, will the West survive? These are all questions that haven't been answered in 13 years. Tell me, I mean, your timing is interesting because, of course, the West just had an enormous setback. Justin Trudeau managed to cling to power. The federal Conservatives actually lost ground in Quebec, barely made a dent in Ontario. It's not much more than what Preston Manning and Stockwell Day did more than a dozen years ago, and I think the West is on the back foot. This time, the oil patch is being destroyed by the Liberals, the NDP, the Greens, and the Bloc in a way we haven't seen before. Do you guys have an editorial mission that goes to Western Canada as opposed to, you know, in reaction to that? I mean, we're based here in Toronto. We consider ourselves pro-Western, but the Western Standard suggests that you are about the West, for the West. What are you going to do in regards to Trudeau's war on the West? Yeah, very good question. Well, the Western Standard at its time, I believe you ran it out of Calgary when the original Western Standard was in publication. We're run out of Calgary again. Our editorial direction is fighting for a strong and free Western Canada. And people have different feelings about what that looks like. I believe in a sovereign Western Canada. Western Canada, I suppose, could be defined differently depending on what provinces you're putting in that category. But we're taking a strong editorial position for a sovereign Western Canada. And sovereignty can mean a new deal for Alberta, Saskatchewan, and other Western provinces within Confederation, which I really hope is the best possible outcome we can achieve. But I really don't believe that reform is particularly likely. The Federal Conservative Party of Canada is not particularly that much stronger in seat count than the old Reform Party was, but it doesn't have that strong Western voice that Reform or the Alliance had. My hope is that Alberta and Saskatchewan and others can put forward concrete, real demands for constitutional reform within Canada. But failing that, if we cannot if we cannot fix this country, which I believe deserves to be fixed. So I love Canada. I'm born a Canadian. I wish to die a Canadian. But if it can't be fixed, I do believe independence needs to be on the agenda. So the Western Standard is going to be a platform for us to debate the Western question in a thoughtful and meaningful fashion. We've got writers from different perspectives. We've got, I don't think any status quo federalists, but we've certainly got people in the reform camp about how we can try to fix Confederation, and people in the independence camp who think that it's just beyond repair and it's time to go. And of course, some people in between those two positions. So we've already got some pieces on Western Standard Online right now, really trying to give a platform to the debate that Westerners are already having, but is not being heard out with sufficient volume in the mainstream corporate press.
That's an excerpt from the Ezra Levant Show, which is a show I do every day. I do a monologue, interview an interesting guest, and then I read my hate mail. But you've got to subscribe to it, which you can do at premium.rebelnews.com.